What's going on, YouTube? Diabolic Hollow here, and welcome back to another episode of the HHA Extra Credit. Today, I am also joined again by my friend and a guest, or should I say co-host? Are you a co-host here, or?
I guess, man. I'm whatever you want me to be. It's Mac Tier.
Yeah, we are back, and today we're going to be discussing episode 3 of WandaVision. First of all, if you haven't seen our first episode covering the premiere first 2 episodes, what the fuck are you doing here? You need to pause this video. Yeah, go back to the first video, go watch that, and then come back here, unpause the video, and, finish the rest of the video.
Don't be a scrub.
With that out of the way, also, if you haven't watched any of our original podcasts, the Hidden Rego Academy, I also suggest you do that. We should have a new episode coming soon with this as well. But yeah, let's get into some WandaVision. Episode 3 was a little bit more weirder, I would say, than the first 2, and actually kind of held my attention a lot more just because of how like abnormal everything was kind of progressing.
Yeah, I think it started to, because the first couple episodes were, there were those kind of like weird little nuance moments where it kind of grabbed you and was like, oh, this isn't just a sitcom. But I think this third episode kind of started to structure its narrative a lot more. It, like, as far as the, like, even though there are still a lot of questions unanswered, it's finally...
Yeah, we're starting to head into that direction of like what's going on in the real world.
Yeah, exactly. So, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on it so far?
I do like this episode more than the premiere, just because I don't know. I don't want to say it was easier to follow because it was still a little bit weird in pacing, but it was definitely like you kind of understand, like, okay, things are kind of not what they seem. Yeah. And then there was that whole scene with you just said her name and I just forgot about her. Monica and Wanda, when they were talking in Wanda's living room about Pietro. That was kind of interesting because it seemed like when she was talking about her brother, it like almost like broke her out of whatever trance that she's in. And then she like...
Yes, yeah.
She like kicked her out of Westview.
So it was really weird because for a lot of reasons, because one, because she had just given birth to her twins.
Which she gave birth to them only being pregnant for like a week,
like a couple,
a days,
week or a couple days. Yeah. So and that's another thing about the show. The sense of time seems to be very construed, because it keeps jumping from. And I think the adding of color kind of hinted towards this, almost like from 50s, 60s.
I think this is like a 70s kind of.
Yeah, and you can kind of tell with just like the home, like their home decor has changed. Now it's set to more
the wardrobes, everything.
Yeah, the wardrobes, even like the hairstyle, like everything. Even I think some of the automobiles were more like of 70s era, if I'm not mistaken. But what was really interesting about that one scene where, so she had just given birth to the twins, and Monica, and Wanda were chit-chatting, and all up until this point, Wanda has had a very exaggerated American accent, and to be fair, she did kind of drop her Sokovian accent in favor of an American one, like I think in like Civil War, and like Infinity War and Endgame, and I think that was I remember reading a lot about that on forums, and that was kind of explained as like, oh well, she was with Black Widow, so she has learned to adopt an accent that wouldn't draw as much attention or whatever, which okay, that makes sense. But even in WandaVision, it was like a very like exaggerated American accent.
Yeah, it was not her normal like matter of speaking. As Wanda.
And when because she starts, she's like, oh, I just had twins. Oh, I used to have a twin, Pietro. And then that's when Monica says he was, like she references the Avengers movie Age of Ultron when Pietro gets killed by Ultron, and Monica says, "Yeah, wasn't he killed by Ultron?" And she just got fucking triggered and started, asking who, like, what did you say? But what's funny is when I was watching that, then I had to rewind a couple times to see if, I, like, maybe my ears were just playing tricks on me. But she actually started to revert back to her Sokovian accent during that little point in time as well, which I thought was interesting. And then by the time she yeeted Monica out of Westview, and Vision had returned back home, she was back to an American accent, the exaggerated American accent that she had been using throughout the show. And also, when you see Monica get thrown out, you are able to. So there is at least, and I don't know if you want to call it the real world, but outside of the sitcom world, let's just call it that.
It seems like there was like some kind of military operation going on that was kind of patrolling, or I guess keeping the border of where they are.
Yeah,
under wraps or something like that, because like immediately when she got thrown out, she was like surrounded by, like, it looked like government or some kind of agency. I'm guessing sword.
That's what my thought was. And yeah, as far as their motive, I mean, are they just monitoring? Are they,
We don't know yet.
It seems like they keep trying to send in agents or drop hints to Wanda to try and either talk to her, or who knows. But at the same time, when Monica did try actually reaching out to her and like kind of reminding her of what, actually happened in the real world as far as her brother dying, and Wanda confronted her and was like, "The fuck? What'd you say?" Monica then started to revert back like, "Oh, I was just talking about your twins," and she said some BS, like something she didn't act like. She started saying nonsense, trying to divert away from Pietro and Ultron. But Wanda had already caught scent of that and yeeted her ass out.
Something I also noticed that they pointed out is that Monica's necklace was an upside-down cross. So maybe we're going to be dipping a little bit also into the supernatural in this show, which, I mean, the show is already supernatural based with Wanda's powers.
Yeah. I think it was the same symbol that was on the helicopter, and I think it was in reference to sword. Or at least that's what I was thinking.
That makes a little bit more sense, considering I think I heard from somewhere that Monica is actually the daughter of the pilot from Captain Marvel.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
that would.
I think
okay.
I'm not 100%, so don't quote me on this, guys. But I'm pretty sure I saw it somewhere or watched it somewhere that they like said that Monica was definitely like, that was a big tie-in to WandaVision, was she was the daughter of that pilot from Captain Marvel from the 90s.
I didn't even think about that. It's been I'm not even gonna lie to you. I've
only watched Captain Marvel once.
My attention span was so.
I mean, to be fair, it wasn't like, a great movie, but we're not here going to discuss some of the mid-tier Marvel movies.
We'll just keep it to good old, entertaining Marvel stuff.
Right.
But another thing that I thought was kind of interesting as well on the show, so I can't remember the neighbors' names for the life of me, but when Vision has he went to get the doctor when he noticed that Wanda was in labor, and after the whole ordeal was done and she had given birth, Vision went outside and was noticed that the neighbors were kind of speaking to each other, but like in a very like whispered tone, like almost to not draw attention or make sure no one was hearing them. And then once Vision started to approach them, their whole demeanor changed. They were trying to divert away from the fact that they were whispering, that they were talking about, something in private. Almost, to me it kind of gave off a sense of, because I remember, or I know in the first couple of episodes, a real big kind of thing, at least going through my head, was, is it, is all these people just a figment of Wanda's imagination? Are they all just artifacts in this construct that Wanda has created? But they all, as the show goes on, it almost seems like they are real living entities.
Yeah, that conversation. Yeah, I was gonna say that conversation they were having, and when Vision approached them, they alluded to that they were all like trapped there.
Okay, I couldn't really hear what they were saying, but okay. So
No, yeah, they were like, they didn't come out and say it because I guess they just didn't want to tell Vision, but no, that was definitely alluded to, that they got trapped in here somehow. So I don't know. So I guess the theory that either Wanda trapped them or someone else has trapped all of them in there with Wanda.
Yeah,
that could be possible. Also, I wanted to talk about when after that conversation, Vision went back inside and like he brought up his concerns to Wanda, and he was saying like it's not natural to have a kid in like 2 fucking days, and she was she said, I forget exactly what she said, but she said something, and then like she did the weird like rewind thing, and then it seemed like Vision didn't even think about that. So that's why it like leads me to believe that Vision's not really real. Because obviously Vision died at the end of, or not the end, but in Endgame. So I think Vision might be the only construct that you were talking about that maybe Wanda created because she wanted, this is the life she wanted with Vision. And I think also that Vision might be like, maybe her voice of consciousness.
It's so funny. I was literally just about to say that, and it almost seems as if it's like this is her way of dealing with the grief, because every time her conscience tries to address, because a big part of grief is, or the first stage anyways, like denying.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like every time her conscience or Vision tries to confront reality, like, hey, something's not right, or this seems a little weird, she does that little glitch rewind thing, to kind of
like reset him,
the conversation, I get, like reset him, but at the same time, it does seem like because think about it like this too, when he's by himself interacting with the neighbors, I mean, that was a perfect opportunity for him to figure, find some shit out that, as to what might be going on. But, why would Wanda even allow that to be a possibility? So,
right.
I do think that he is a figment of her imagination, if not just an artificially created construct. I don't think it's actually Vision, but I just think it's interesting that it's all playing out, in the way it is, because it does keep you guessing. It's like there's no definite answers as of yet. And another thing I was thinking of too is, as far as Sword and in this, whole scenario that's happening, is she, in the eyes of Sword, or in the eyes of the viewer, is she really the victim and just grieving, and are they just trying to ease her back into reality or help her snap back into reality?
Right.
Or is she perhaps filling in a more villainous role? Because like you said, and I didn't even notice this or notice that either about them being trapped or whatever, but her creating this fictional reality, could it be a lot more sinister than it appears on the surface?
I don't think, because we had that whole character development with Wanda earlier in the MCU, so I personally don't think that she's doing this to be purposefully malicious. I think she's either created this subconsciously, and some outside entity kind of latched onto her energy and kind of like amplified it, or I think my other theory is that, and I think I said this in the previous episode, that another outside entity created this for her as like a way to maybe process her grief, but is actually like taking advantage of her.
Yeah. So could it possibly also be something fabricated by Sword as
Possibly,
well?
it could be. I mean, they could pull the whole Hydra shield thing, and then I don't know. Maybe Sword isn't actually a good organization in the first place. So, man, you could be right. I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah,
You could be
and
wrong. We
th-
don't. We
this
don't know yet.
yeah, it's speculation. I mean, I hope it's not. I mean, I feel like that would be kind of a lazy thing to do. Like Sword is just another Hydra slash Shield in the making, but
Right.
it does. See, I don't know, man. It just. I mean, obviously, and there's not meant to be any answers, right now. But it just. I just have a feeling that it's a little bit more than like there's just gonna be a complete like 180 in terms of what this scenario actually is. Uh, you know, is in scenario being the whole Westview simulation, let's call it, and also what role these people have to play, because it's just crazy. I'm still, my mind is just racing, just just thinking about what it all could possibly be. And something else too, Monica, who did have that sword emblem, when she was being, like after she had got thrown out of the sitcom, like fun, happy Westview simulation that Wanda had created, when the military agents, assuming it was Sword, found her and were picking her up. It didn't seem like just the way they were approaching her, like had their guns aimed at her and their light shined at her. It didn't, to me, seem like she was, someone who sent like on a covert mission to try and help her. It was almost like they were capturing a fugitive, like someone who had possibly gone rogue. So could there also be some, whatever Sword is doing? Could there be some people within the organization itself trying to go in the simulation to get her out of their own volition? Or could it all, just be Sword just collectively trying to get in there and snap Wanda out of this without causing a catastrophe? I thought was another interesting train of thought. But,
That is interesting.
So. But I don't know, man. Too many questions. I can't wait till the next episode. I feel like we're gonna get
man.
because it definitely has shifted, because it was kind of doing this episodic thing, like each episode was just like a silly little goof as far as the life of what Wanda and Vision are up to. But it does seem like from here it's gonna be a lot more of a serious tone here on out, because the first two episodes as well, I'll mention this, kind of ended on a happier note as far as the actual conclusion, but this was the first episode where it was like,
it didn't end off like as happy or happy at all, really.
Yeah.
There was something I wrote down that I thought to mention here. So I noticed in this episode that Vision actually had the Mind Stone whenever he was in his regular form. Yeah. And I believe, if I'm not incorrect, the first two episodes he didn't actually have the Mind Stone on his forehead when he was in his regular form.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that either.
Because like the only time we actually saw the Mind Stone in the first two episodes was actually when they were practicing the magic trick, and they brought that big wardrobe into the living room. Mm-hmm. That symbol on the wardrobe is the Mind Stone. So I just thought it was really interesting, and I think I caught it like immediately when episode 3 started. Yeah. I saw Vision and I was like, wait a minute, he's got the Mind Stone on this time. I don't know if that has some significance to Wanda or Vision or the show, or if it maybe just was like a costume error.
Yeah, I do feel like I didn't, because I remember us talking about it on the last episode. I don't think he had it in the first couple episodes either. But I did notice that in this third episode that he definitely did have the Mind Stone. Right. He was in his regular Vision form, and I thought that was what's the word? Investigated in the show. So, but yeah, it's crazy, man. Wanda's created some reality that sort.
Well, we don't know if she's created
yeah,
it
that's
yet.
true. That's
we
true.
don't
Yeah,
we don't know if she's created it or someone else has yet. That's kind of the whole mystery
true.
right now that we're kind of I think, well, not just us, but everyone who's watching and actually paying attention to this show is kind of trying to figure out. And I'm sure they did that all on purpose too, to kind of keep you wondering.
And I think that's just kind of where my mindset is. I do think she's fabricated it, but I mean, you're right that we don't really know for sure what exactly is happening. For me,
I think maybe next episode we might get some semblance of information about it, because I feel like with the ending of this episode being really focused on the outside world, I hope and I would assume that this next episode, episode 4, we might get a bigger chunk of what's going on outside.
In fact, I think this is the first time we've actually seen the outside besides seeing some dude like monitoring a little 50s TV.
Yeah.
So hopefully we maybe might see some, characters on the outside, some dialogue as to their perspective as to what's going on, and that'll answer some more questions. But all we can do is
that's I was gonna say that's all I got on the
me
episode,
too.
Personally. All right, well, this is going to be a lot shorter of an episode. Thank you guys for sticking around. Trying to diversify the content on the HHA channel, so we have this series to be a little bit shorter, in case you don't want to stick around the whole hour, 2 hours on the main podcast. But you should go check those out anyways if you're here.
You definitely should. Off the rip.
Yeah.
If you don't, I will find you, and I will duct tape your ears open. Force a headset onto you.
What?
Oh yeah, I'll go straight up. Fucking CIA.
You guys heard you guys heard him. Go watch now, and make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, so we know we're doing something right. It helps us grow, helps us know that we're doing something correct.
And feel free to leave a comment if you have any suggestions.
Yeah.
If you have any input.
If you have any theories, any input, any speculations that you want to talk about, put it in the comments down below. We'll be hovering the comments. I know I hover comments on any video.
I get too butthurt to read comments, so I'm gonna leave that to Jeff.
But yeah, if you guys have any fucking theories on what's going on in WandaVision, let me know. Let's chat. Let's chat in the comments.
If you have something that you feel like we haven't brought up, or you noticed something, or have an interesting idea that you feel like we didn't really dive into, we'd love to hear it, man. I mean, most of this show is just speculation up to this point, which there's not really a lot of shows like that. It's almost like, I mean, not exactly, but to me, it's almost like reading a book, as far as one person can look at this, read this, or view this one way, and their mind goes one way, whereas another person may view this piece of entertainment and their mind goes a completely other way. So,
right, because everyone processes information and how it's given to you differently. So everyone has their own kind of either view or kind of just take on it. Yeah, that's going to do it for episode 2 of Extra Credit. We will have episode 3 up next week when episode 4 of the WandaVision drops. I got to think. Oh, I did want to say that we will follow probably the series to the season finale. I don't know if they're going to do multiple seasons or not of this. I would expect an episode for every episode that comes out of WandaVision. That's going to be pretty much the game plan for any kind of series that we're both following and decide to cover on Extra Credit. We will kind of do an episode. Or, I mean, sometimes if they release a whole season on a show we're interested in and they release a whole bunch of episodes at once, we might kind of split it off to a couple episodes a chunk. But that's pretty much how this is going to be going forward. So, especially if it's just one episode, these are going to be a lot shorter.
And if you have any ideas on, something you might want us to cover, delve our minds
Yeah.
into, we're open to hear it. We're always open to suggestions.
Mhm.
We like lots of stuff.
Yeah, anything in that nerd and geek culture, pop culture, stuff like that. We probably won't be covering anything that's already come out since
Yeah.
we do these. It's probably just gonna be related to anything that is either just now coming out or like that just came out basically, which is basically the same thing. I just kind of repeated myself, but you guys get the gist. It's just gonna be kind of brand new stuff, just so we can kind of stay on top of things and kind of ride that wave. We might, I don't know. I was thinking about making a separate thing, maybe possibly if other people were interested, of going over some older kind of movies or shows or something like that. I don't know. Maybe not. It's very up in the air right now. If you think that's something you would like to see or hear about, because this is obviously some like a mini podcast, let me know in the comments.
Like a seasonal thing, just since you brought that up, like Halloween, like some classic horror movies, or like Christmas time, some like classic.
Yeah, I mean,
Christmas
we
movies.
could definitely do that.
Just a
We
thought.
could definitely do that. But I've been Diabolic Hollow. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. I was joined here again by my most esteemed friend Maktir.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Preach.
If you got any final remarks?
I appreciate the love. If you have any, I appreciate the hate too. I look forward to continuing to delve into your brain and into your thoughts throughout the entirety of these podcasts. So y'all take it easy. Appreciate any likes and subs, and if y'all want to leave a comment, we will think about looking at them.
All right, guys. We'll see you in the next episode.
See ya.
Peace.